Let's take a rest from news and give ourselves permission to go outside and remember something some of us did decades ago in parks and on sidewalks, and now Double Dutch is enjoying a comeback. Reporter Leslie Eiler Thompson goes to Washington Square Park in New York City to learn the ropes.
Double Dutch is a way of jumping rope that uses 2 ropes instead of 1, with 2 people turning the ropes on either end and a person jumping in the middle. It began as a child's game in urban neighborhoods and has been passed down for decades, primarily through the play of young black girls. And Double Dutch is finding a resurgence, especially through viral videos on social media of pop-up events in heavily populated city centers like this one.
Stay right there, don't go nowhere. Stay right there, don't go nowhere. Stay right there, don't go nowhere.
That's Shakira Lee, and she's the coach for this pop-up event. She's been teaching Double Dutch for 5 years.
I spent a lot of times in the Bronx. We have a big playground, and before we go to school, every time after breakfast, we'd run out into the playground and just play Double Dutch.
There we go. There we go. There we go. Spin around.
Lee grew up in the foster care system, learned Double Dutch from her foster siblings.
Back then, it was more so of a escape, coping mechanism. And it's grown into something much more bigger that I can't even describe. Like, it's the family, it's the joy.
You got that. She's a natural. She's a natural. Who's next?
So now, Lee teaches the sport, whether through private lessons or pop-up events throughout New York City. And her favorite people to coach are those who have never done it before.
Give me 10 minutes. 10 minutes. That's all it takes.
In fact, most of the people who jumped at this pop-up event were beginners, just like me when I had my own turn in the ropes.
1, 2, 1, 2. Ah! Oh my gosh! Just like that. What did I say? In less than 10 minutes? Less than 10 minutes. Let's get you back in the ropes.
And when any of us went long enough or spun around in the ropes, the crowd that had formed around us would cheer and celebrate, including Coach Shakira Lee.
What I learned, I'm passing it down. I want to build generational memories. I want to build generational experiences. And every time there's a session, I look forward to it.
1, 1, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2.
For NPR News, I'm Leslie Eiler Thompson.
Building memories, too. A moment of play and joy on this Tuesday. It's here and now.
I'm Tanya Mosley.
And I'm Juana Summers.
You may have heard that prices for used vehicles are up. That car you've thought about donating to this station could be worth even more today than when you first started thinking about donating it a while back.
Donate it to this station, and it could mean hundreds of dollars of support. Thanks.
Go to radioiq.org and click the vehicle donation banner at the top of the page.
On the next Fresh Air, writer and cultural critic Jamila Lemieux tells us why she once thought single motherhood was a fate just slightly worse than death. But in her new book, Black Single Mother, she writes about the complicated, ordinary beauty of raising a child on your own, blending her story with those of other single mothers. Join us.
That's Fresh Air, Monday through Thursday at 2 p.m. on Radio IQ.
Funding for Here and Now comes from the listeners of WBUR Boston, where the program is produced, and your NPR station, and MathWorks, creator of MATLAB and Simulink software for technical computing and model-based design. MathWorks, accelerating the pace of discovery in engineering and science. Learn more at mathworks.com. And Viking, committed to exploring the world in comfort, offering small ship experiences with a shore excursion included in every port and programs designed for cultural enrichment. Learn more at Viking.com.
It's here and now. The controversial head of the FDA's vaccine unit is stepping down next month. Vinay Prasad will leave the FDA after a series of what scientists said were bad decisions on vaccines and gene therapies. In a post on social media, FDA Commissioner Marty McCary thanked Prasad for getting a tremendous amount accomplished within 1 year, But Prasad is said to have created a toxic work environment and was actually ousted from the FDA last summer before returning. And now he is leaving. Matthew Herper is a senior writer with our partners at STAT, the Health and Medicine publication. Matt, welcome.
Thank you.
And remind us, he was head of the FDA's unit that regulates vaccines, gene therapies, blood products, and forced out of the FDA last summer. It was a controversy over a rare disease drug, and that seemed to be repeating?
Yeah, that's exactly correct. Both of the instances that really seemed to get him in hot water were cases where there was a biotech company with a rare disease drug. There were arguable issues in both cases about the decision, but it was made and handled in a way that kind of maximally riled up people. There's a tension here in that the administration and the FDA had seemed to want to take sterner action on vaccines, but in their rhetoric, we're going to be more liberal on drug approvals. But as an academic, Prasad was known for taking very hard stances on the amount of evidence needed to believe basically anything about a medicine, and it resulted in something like a half dozen rare disease companies who said that the goalposts for their treatments under development for diseases like Duchenne muscular dystrophy and Huntington's had been dramatically changed.
Right. So this tension that you just described is, the administration trying to loosen some of these to get these rare disease drugs into the marketplace. And Prasad, as you say, when it came to battles over some of the data behind, these drugs, he pulled out a bazooka when he needed a scalpel.
Yes. And I mean, the last example I think is a good example of that. It's a gene therapy for Huntington's. There was a huge amount of press for this therapy when the company announced top-line results because it's the first thing we've had in that disease that looks like a success. But they had previously a randomized controlled trial where people got not just placebo, but this is a gene therapy injected into the brain. So people got anesthesia and burrs in their skulls in the placebo group. And that had appeared neutral. And then there was this marker of brain cells being destroyed that was positive. So there's a real disagreement here. And he was siding with needing another trial. But the FDA was then not clear on, did the people in the placebo group really need all that anesthesia? Did they not? And it was a situation where kind of if you were going to have this debate, it was the worst way to have it in public when I think one of the problems for him is he just kept making headlines, and I suspect the administration didn't want them.
Right. Well, one of them was that he was reportedly being investigated for creating a toxic work environment. He told staff, if you don't agree with my new vaccine framework, you should resign. But, he faced a lot of backlash over that framework for vaccine regulation. Nearly every living former FDA head blasted it. Just briefly remind us, what did they not like?
What they didn't like was that it changed the regulation of a lot of things like flu vaccines, which have to be regularly updated. The standards for approving new vaccines, the kinds of trials that would be needed, which are actually very large and most experts think very rigorous. And did it wholesale based on what at this point is an allegation that the FDA had found a certain number of deaths from myocarditis, which is a condition that the COVID vaccines do cause in particularly young men and adolescent men.
Yeah.
And was really sweeping change that would have made it harder to do all sorts of things in vaccines.
Right. Well, but Matt Herper, for those watching this administration's FDA and seeing that it's often been anti-science, anti-vaccine, and seeing that Vinay Prasad is leaving and cheering, is the feeling that his exit eliminates some of those questions about how this FDA and this administration views vaccines and science?
No, I don't think so. I think we really don't know where we're going to land on these issues. Some of Prasad's decisions on vaccines seemed not backed by evidence. Some of them seemed to just exceed what the FDA's traditional authority would be. But makers of rare disease therapies are really celebrating because they think whoever comes in next will be easier on them. Those stocks are up. But there are other officials who've had concerns about vaccines. It is still an HHS that is run by Robert F. Kennedy Jr., I don't think that for vaccine makers in particular, anyone is thinking that the clouds suddenly part. But we really don't know what the administration is going to do, and there are all sorts of scenarios out there, and it will depend which one they pick.
Matthew Herper, senior writer at STAT, the Health and Medicine publication, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Here and Now is a production of NPR and WBUR. I'm Robin Young in Boston.
And I'm Peter O'Dowd in Phoenix. It's Here and Now.
Funding for Here and Now comes from the listeners of WBUR Boston and Landmark College in Putney, Vermont, offering summer programs for high schoolers that focus on building executive function and transition to college skills. Landmark.edu/summer.
More than 300 listeners have already given to support Radio IQ ahead of the upcoming spring drive. Those donations enable us to offer a 2-to-1 match for all first-time givers. Your $10 contribution becomes $30 for the station and is entered into the fund drive total. Support the fact-based news that you love and rely on every day. Click the donate button at radioiq.org and become a new member today. And thank you.
You can listen to Radio IQ anytime at radioiq.org. Plus, you'll find the latest news, a complete broadcast schedule, events calendar, and more. All at radioiq.org.
You're listening to Radio IQ on WBTF Roanoke, WRIQ Charles City, Richmond, WVTU Charlottesville, WVTW Charlottesville, WVTR Marion, WISC FM Wise, WQIQ Spotsylvania, WIUR Lexington, WEHC Emory, HD3 of WURV Richmond, and on 92.5 Richmond and 94.9 Fredericksburg. Radio IQ, a listener-supported community service of Virginia Tech, on your smart speaker and online at radioiq.org.
Fresh Air with Terry Gross is underwritten by the Davis H. Elliott Company, providing energy delivery services to utility and government partners since 1946. The Davis H. Elliott Company.
From WHYY in Philadelphia, this is Fresh Air. I'm Tanya Mosley. My guest today is author and cultural critic Jamila Lemieux. For years, she's pushed back against the stereotypes and stigma that follow single mothers, pulling back the curtain in her writing to the real, complicated, and sometimes funny work of raising a daughter on her own. Her new book, Black Single Mother.
All who so desire to stand for a moment of silence and remain standing for the Pledge of Allegiance. Thank you. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Good afternoon and welcome to our meeting for March the 10th, 2026. Regular meetings are held on the second and fourth Tuesday at 2 p.m. Public hearings are held at 6 p.m. on the fourth Tuesday of each month. Deviations from this schedule will be announced. The meetings are broadcast live on RVTV Channel 3 and will be rebroadcast on Friday at 7 p.m. and on Sundays from 10 a.m. until 5 p.m. Board of Supervisor meetings can also be viewed online through Roanoke County's website at www.roanokecountyva.gov. Individuals who require assistance or special arrangements to participate in or attend the Board of Supervisors meeting should contact the clerk to the board at 540-772-2005 at least 48 hours in advance. Please turn off all cell phones or place them in silence. We move to item A, opening ceremonies. Number 1, roll call. Will the clerk please call the roll?
Mrs. Hooker.
Here.
Mr. North.
Here.
Mr. Mahoney.
Here.
Mr. Radford.
Here. We move to item B, request to postpone, add to, or change the order of agenda. Are there any requests to postpone, add to, or change the order of agenda, fellow board members?
No, sir.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Kaywood?
No changes, sir.
Okay. Mr. Lubeck?
No changes, sir.
Okay. We move to item C, briefing. Item 1, briefing by the Roanoke Regional Partnership. John Holt, Executive Director of the Roanoke Regional Partnership. Welcome, Mr. Holt.
Thank you, Chairman Radford, and members of the Board of Supervisors. I appreciate the opportunity to present our work, our 2025 annual report for the Roanoke Regional Partnership, and I want to thank you for your ongoing support and leadership and investment in the partnership as well. I'm joined this afternoon by a couple of teammates from the Roanoke Regional Partnership who are responsible for some of the work that we'll be sharing, and we have Senior Director of Creative Strategies, Pete Eshelman, and the Director of Business Investment, Ms. Julia Boas, who have joined me as well. And so they're here in case there are questions and so forth that I'm not equipped to answer. So I want to start by sharing the results of our work on a cumulative basis. I think you're familiar now that we do our strategic planning and private capital fundraising on a 5-year cycle. And we're coming up here on that 5th year. So Thrive 2027 was our last plan. As a part of that plan, and as you know, we're both public and private, and half of our funding comes from the private sector. But when we go out and solicit and raise those funds, we set goals, and we set goals around the attraction of capital investment and creation of new employment. And so this graphic illustrates the progress of the Thrive 2027 plan in 4 years, 4 of the 5 years. On the left, you'll see, for one thing, 2025 resulted in about $400 million of new economic activity on an annual recurring basis once the announcements fully ramp up. Over the 4 years of Thrive, it's over $1 billion of new economic activity. So that's really quite exciting. And we do that work together with our local partners. It's your Department of Economic Development, as well as your county administration that plug into that work really on a daily basis. And so I'm really appreciative of their efforts and expertise as well. The capital investment goal was set at $350 million as of the end of 2025. We're at $565 million of capital investment attracted. An employment goal was at 3,000 jobs currently at the end of 2025. The region is at 105% of that goal at 3,165 jobs. So with about another year to go, together with our local partners, we're ahead of goal, ahead of schedule. So I already mentioned last year, announced projects will enhance the regional economy to the tune of about $400 million, $396.9 million of new economic activity. That is a record. Our previous record was 2023, and it was frankly a few $1 million shy of that, and that was driven largely by the Wells Fargo announcement, the number of jobs there. Here we had a lower jobs year, but we had more productive industries. We had a lot of manufacturing announcements, and so that drove a higher level of economic impact. And we also had a record in terms of our business inquiries. The very top line of the funnel, the exchange of a business card, a preliminary conversation with industry, we had 555 of those inquiries last year, another record level for 2025. In terms of results, 2025, we had, 7 successful announcements that represent $176 million of new capital investment and 715 new jobs, including the largest being Elbit America here in Roanoke County. Quite proud of that project. Together, quite a number of new and expanding manufacturers that are really quite well-rounded from a geographic perspective, that are contributing new economic activity. And none of those numbers, neither the Thrive results nor the 2025 results, include anything approximating the Google land purchase in Botetourt County. And I share that here. This is big regional news. It's not just Botetourt County news, because that purchase represents the seed that's being planted for a new sector here in the region. It is a global validation of our region for investment, and it represents future growth opportunities, particularly when you think about all of the suppliers, contractors, and others who will benefit from the campus being located here and the construction that will result, and frankly, the ongoing operations, again, of a new economic sector in Western Virginia. And again, you know, we are a public-private partnership, the Roanoke Regional Partnership, and we're an excellent conduit to the private sector leadership of the region. And we are happy to call upon our local private leaders to lend their voice in support of projects. And the voices of the region was a great feature that our staff produced together with our private sector leaders, sharing their reactions to the historic Google announcement. And we had voices from Carilion Clinic, of course, Steve Arner, President and CEO of Carilion Clinic. We have Richmond Vincent of the Goodwill Industries, Kathy Underwood of Branch Group, Elizabeth McClanahan, Justice Elizabeth McClanahan of Virginia Tech Foundation, and of course Sean Horn of Westwood Professional Services, who all shared their excitement and reaction. But of course, manufacturing growth is really the headline story, and in the Roanoke region, manufacturing continues to grow, and it is the leading contributor to economic growth in the Roanoke region. When you look at contribution to gross domestic product, manufacturing and healthcare are the top industries. In terms of the trend, only a third of metros nationally, actually slightly less than a third, 30% of U.S. metros saw manufacturing growth last year. That's June 2024 to June 25. And the Roanoke metro not only experienced growth of manufacturing, but was in the top 25% of U.S. metros. And so plainly the work of economic development, the investment of our private sector partners, it's all making a difference. And this region is being differentiated nationally in terms of its leadership and opportunity for manufacturing industry. When you total up our inquiries, our project files, our late stage opportunities, that's a total number of 679 opportunities for the region, 38% over the previous year increase. And so the opportunity, I think we can say, has never been greater for the region for new investment and new employment. And we're reaching broader audiences digitally as well. You know, we track inquiries, projects, prospects, you know, those are all descriptive of our sales funnel, our opportunity pipeline. But just above that, right, is our digital presence. And that's measured by, you know, social media followers, website visitors, email contacts, and, you know, in terms of our communications, key performance indicators, all three saw substantial growth last year. And the region is earning national recognition. I can't take credit, of course, for the beautiful leaves. Okay, someone else put that in our DNA. But the food and beverage piece, I'm particularly proud of. You know, the Global Location Strategies is a site consultant firm that put together a ranking of markets for food and beverage suitability. You know, the Roanoke Regional Partnership, Ms. Boas, myself, we're regularly having conversations with consultants, including the Global Location Strategies, talking about our wonderful advantages in infrastructure and industry suitability. Food and beverage is a big part of our message, and so that message seems to be taking root. And of course, our placemaking work and our talent work is being recognized in different channels as well. Livability.com's top 100 best places to live is quite a nice accolade. In terms of talent work, again, you know, our mission is described simply as the attraction of new jobs, new investment, and as of about 15 years ago, new residents. And so we take talent attraction quite seriously. You know, the gettoknownoke.com website includes a talent portal, and this is descriptive of some indicators from that portal. We've successfully signed up more than 450, around 466 folks into the talent pipeline. This represents folks who are interested in jobs, connecting with industry. There are 2,500 open positions in the system, and that represents 350 regional employers as well. So we're actively making the connection between industry and talent. I want to report on a few bold new regional initiatives. So in partnership with Korean Clinic, Virginia Tech, Roanoke Blacksburg Innovation Alliance, we are showcasing the region's growing biotech sector, and it is a regional message and a regional opportunity that extends far beyond the Jefferson Street corridor in the city of Roanoke. There is some specialized infrastructure that's being developed, soon to be open, and a new wet lab incubator in the city of Roanoke. We are looking at ways of doing some business attraction around that facility, but we're confident that when we have those conversations, we will uncover, because that's been the track record, we will uncover opportunities that fit greenfield sites, larger industrial buildings, and there will be opportunities for the entire region from an economic development perspective. And some of the leading biotech stories and successes in this region, you find Novanessus in Roanoke County and City of Salem, Integer in the City of Salem, so it is a regional opportunity. We're partnering with Visit Virginia's Blue Ridge, together with a consulting firm known as Resonance, to align messaging of tourism, talent, and economic development. A second new bold initiative to synergize in those advertising spend so that we're hitting more markets, more efficient marketing dollar spend. And VBR has been a fantastic partner in that process. I think we'll have some more news to share on that soon. Mr. K. Wood's been a part of our key working group of leadership from his seat on the Roanoke Regional Partnership and been a great contributor to that process. And Get to Know Noke, proud to report that Virginia Economic Development Partnership has recognized the leadership of the Roanoke Regional Partnership in being among the first economic development organizations to intentionally focus on talent attraction. In essence, they've recognized that our strategies are a bit ahead of the game, and so they have invested VEDP marketing dollars in terms of marketing our Get to Know Noke talent work, which is unique. They've done some work for Hampton Roads, but frankly, the work in Hampton Roads is just getting them caught up to where we are with the Get to Know Noke page. So I'm really proud of Virginia Economic Development Partnership's recognition of those efforts. Of course, our outdoor placemaking program continues to contribute new impact, $5.1 million of economic impact. This is actually above the $396 million we just spoke about, which is our industry impact. So you can handily say that we're over $400 million of impact in 2025. That's 56,000 attendees across 4 major brand building events. And we'll talk more about GoFest here momentarily because we're really proud and happy about our partnership with Roanoke County at Explore Park. Just some more metrics, some KPIs around that work. 41 states represented, 4 countries. We had 3,402 athletes. I guess I'm on the tail end of that. I'm like 3,402. I'm last ranked. I do run the half. I did run the half last year. 907 volunteers and $41,000 donated. And of course, our outside work is self-supporting. It's quite entrepreneurial. It funds itself. And actually, in addition to funding its, through race entries and some beverage sales on site, we do actually give back and reinvest in outdoor infrastructure. So in 2025, we announced 8 projects, $25,000 of funding over the lifetime of, this is called the Project Outside Initiative. Over its life, it's over $200,000 invested in the region in 41 projects in total. And I believe just next week, we will be sharing the 2026 Project Outside investments as well. So more to come there. In 2025, the projects ranged from the In-River Kayak Park, a new skate park and pump track, to supporting Explore Park, Jackson River Scenic Trail, trails on Mill Mountain. So it's great regional work. Back to talent. If you look at the migration numbers, and migration is accelerating, that's nearly 2,000 new residents regionally in 2025. That's twice the growth level of 2020. The marketplace is responding to this as a great place to work and live. There's employment opportunities that were here that were not here before, and it's just, this market has become much more attractive in the last 6-7 years. It's on trend. Is that what the young people say? On trend?
Right.
Building authentic connections. Okay, so in fact, in talking about being on trend, you know, we have a group of our talent ambassadors, and we're proud of them. They're 39 in number in 2025. It's a growing program. They tell the story in ways that, frankly, just aren't authentic for, you know, for some of us as the partnership staff to tell. I mean, it's important that young talent can see themselves in the market, and that's the role of the talent ambassador. And more perhaps impressively is that these folks are giving their time to host their own events under our Get to Know brand umbrella, generate their own content, and you can see the metrics are all up. They're our force multiplier. They're proud to do the work. They're proud to live here, proud to work here, and we're just honored to be affiliated with them. But it's a lot of work. It's a lot of work to organize them. So it's a powerful force there that we have to harness for the good of the region. And also in terms of talent, we did, you know, the Talent Summit was a first-year event in 2024. It returned in 2025. This year was in Radford University. We just held that event again last week in 2026 here in Roanoke College. President Frank Shushak provided a powerful call to action for the audience. It was a tremendous opportunity to bring higher education and industry together to talk about talent and how to compete, how to more closely partner. It's a conversation every region in the United States needs to have. And of course, our onboard ROA, Young Professional Internship Program, continues in its third year. We're connecting YPs and interns to the region. We're really aiming to make this, what do you call it, sticky, right? We're trying to get to retain these folks, get them to build roots. You know, I told Salem last night, I'll use the line again, you know, young adults some will tell you they have trouble adulting, right? You heard this, right? So, so we're trying to help them connect in ways that maybe this generation is not happening quite organically. So we do find it's quite successful. The participants all come out of it saying, if given the opportunity, they will remain. You know, they love the region, they love the program, they like the work opportunities as well. And we're looking to grow that program this year with our employers. Talent program, we do hold quarterly socials. We're enthusiastically welcoming 4 venues, 3 localities. We're spreading it out. We had 125 attendees per social, 2 sponsors, and we are hitting the road regularly with higher education institutions, touching 5 schools, 115 engagements, and getting in front of more than 500 students. So we're growing our campus, our presence on campus. And wanted to share also, just yesterday, Pete told me he was out at the beautiful Explore Park facility. What a breathtaking and growing venue, and growing in its presence and importance. He shared with me how incredible the new greenway work along the river looks. It's really, really beautiful out there, and we're really excited about what this opens up for Go Fest and our partnership with Roanoke County this fall as well. So we think there is quite a bit of potential there, and I'm extremely excited. I spent probably half my time during Go Fest actually right here at Explore Park this fall, and I'm really looking forward to what may come this year. But I wanted to leave you with a sincere note of gratitude and appreciation. We can't do this work without your leadership and support, and it's so crucial to us. And your support comes by way of partnership. It comes in so many ways, and so I want to thank you. And of course, would be happy for myself and my team to take any questions, Mr. Chairman.
Sure. Hey, John, thank you for that nice report. Do any fellow board members wish to make comments?
Yes. I do, please.
I'm going to start with Ms. Hooker.
Thank you so much, John. We appreciate that report. I would love for that to be sent to us individually if possible, because we would love to get on the bandwagon of promoting all the good things that are going on right here in the region. And I made just a couple of notes that really jumped out to me. Over $1 billion in new growth. That is phenomenal. I don't know if we've ever touched that mark before, but that is amazing. And I know it was over a span of time, but that's great. That's amazing. Almost $400 million in economic impact. Can you explain that a little more?
Sure. That number represents multiple activities. So it's the economic value generated by the business itself. It is the economic value represented by purchases of those businesses with suppliers. For instance, we received the unfortunate news of Yokohama's closure, right? And that is quite an unfortunate circumstance, and we're working with Salem, to support in that circumstance and looking at ways to market that piece of real estate. But in dialogue with that company, they share with us their list of suppliers, and that has been shared with all the local economic developers, and it's a range of other manufacturers who provide inputs. It's services with accounting and legal. It's a whole host of things that the business buys, among the regional business community. And then the third bucket would be the spending of the households of their wages on goods and services, things like health care and housing, utilities, groceries, retail, the cost of living, so to speak. So it encompasses the production of the business, their cost of doing business, and the cost of living of the employees, really, and all of that activity that is supported by the new wealth generated by the manufacturer or the service provider selling.
Or the 715 new jobs.
Exactly, right.
Gotcha.
Right, yes.
Gotcha. So manufacturing growth in the top 25% nationally. That is incredible. We really are becoming known as advanced manufacturing location to be. I saw 1,949 in new growth, and I'm curious if that's mostly Roanoke County. I know some of the other outlying counties are really seeing some significant growth too, while some areas may be declining a little, but I think Roanoke County is doing pretty well in that sector.
Yeah, I think, Ms. Hooker, I believe you are correct in that. Roanoke County is among the fastest growing, yes. Mm-hmm.
And then the other note that I made is that you mentioned 5 colleges that you were focusing on and reaching out and connecting with those young people, encouraging Roanoke County and the whole region to be a destination for them potentially. And I know that there's a significant number of colleges within a fairly close range. Am I thinking within an hour it's 25 or something in that range? So we have quite the reach potential there.
Yeah, that's right, Supervisor. There are 25 within an hour, and what I would say is our constraint is staff capacity, right? So in essence, we've got one dedicated talent professional, but I would tell you that we intend to hit them all. It's just going to take some time, right? But certainly we're focusing some effort and attention on the larger institutions. Yes.
We appreciate your work. It was a great presentation. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Good, John. Congratulations. You are the Economic Impact Ambassador for the region. I like your data. I always like your data. And anyone that can help us on a Friday afternoon at 5 o'clock and get a number to us on Monday, I keep telling that story over and over again. You're pretty good to work with, and you really are responsive. And this is a great report. Now, I want to challenge you with one thing, and I don't usually do this, but all these numbers swim well with the region. Is there any way we can get a Roanoke County snapshot of some of the data in the beginning in terms of, could you extract out of there what Roanoke County's numbers were from your data source? And I'll tell you why. We've got some folks that need some tutoring on economic impact in our public. We're always getting feedback from people, and I just think we need to put that out there. In addition to this as well, because I think it's a great advertisement for the region.
Sure.
But we got some people that need a little help in understanding the Roanoke County impact of this. So if it's not too much trouble, I don't mean to take 2 weeks to do it, but if
Supervisor
some way you
North,
can extract that would be great.
yeah, would be pleased to dig in on that and see which numbers we can extrapolate on and so forth. The regional perspective is, of course, a big part of it because, residents work across the lines, right, so to speak.
That's true.
But we will, let me dig on that, and I'll get you a report that's specific to Roanoke County. Yeah.
And in the meanwhile, though, you plan on putting this on social media when you finish your briefings with all the governments?
We have put the annual report out in totality, but yeah, we can continue to promote that because it's good news, right? And let's get it out there. Yeah.
Yeah, I'd love to take this and share it out there, and I know staff will probably, Amy will probably do so as well. But I also want to follow that up with the Roanoke County scorecard from this data, so we can help our folks get a better understanding. But then again, they may not. Some people don't get it. Thank you.
Thank you. It's a great idea. Thank you. John, thank you. Thank you and your staff. This is excellent news. And to see being able to hit the 5-year plan numbers in 4 years is great. I guess what I hear, sort of 3 themes. One is a theme, obviously, for manufacturing, and that is a pleasant surprise to see where this region ranks on a national scale. Second, the attempting to, and the Regional Commission has been doing this for years, trying to break down some of the silo thinking among all the different jurisdictions, and that what you and your staff trying to work through, whether it's with VBR or whether it's through the Regional Commission. I'm the board's rep on the SEDS Committee for Economic Development Strategy, trying to work through with workforce, all the different groups we have in the region, and sometimes trying to bring them all together and work in the same direction is hard because we tend to go different directions. And I guess the third theme is the talent recruitment and how critical that is, and how your folks and other organizations have really attempted to build on that. And I guess from our perspective, as a local governing body, we provide a significant amount of support every year out of our budget for public education. And what has always frustrated me is we spend about $13,000 a year per child in Roanoke County Public Schools. And if you multiply that K through 12, and how many of our young people feel a need to leave the region. And I appreciate what you and others are doing at the college or university level. That's critical. But even at a lower level of what we do, so many of our kids see greener pastures in other places. And I can't, I'm guilty. My wife and I have 3 children, and only one has remained in the area. One's in New York City, one's in Durham, North Carolina. And I know a lot of families are like that. I think my hope was by helping to fund the new Arnold R. Burton replacement, the new career technical education facility up on Peters Creek. I'm hoping that provides, number one, support for manufacturing, but number 2, keep more of our children in the area, and that's part of that talent recruitment. And everything that you're doing, as well as in partnership with some of these other groups, to beat the drum, so to speak, that this is a great place to live, and this is a great place to work. And somehow if we can continue to put that message out there, and this information you provide us is a perfect basis for that. So like Mr. North, I think a lot of us, Ms. Hooker, we'd like to see this data because we'd like to try to push it out more to our citizens, because it's too easy to kind of forget about it and kind of lose focus. That we're part of a group with you that we're trying to do some good things here. But again, thank you. This is a great report. Thank you, Mr. Mahoney. Thank you.
Yeah, Mr. North, go ahead.
Two things real quick. Outdoors number, $5.1 million impact, 56,000 attendees. Was that a variety of different events? And did that include anything at Explorer Park?
That included our four events that Roanoke Outside puts on. So Go Outside Festival, So
Yeah.
part of that would be the economic impact generated through Explorer Park.
Good number to know. Appreciate that. And back to you got to capture students before they leave to go to college here. When you tell them about what is the opportunities here, an intern program in the summer when they're at college, with industries back here. But when folks go to school and get a liberal arts degree, whether it's in communications, sports management, they're going out of state. And my youngest is that way. Doesn't bother him a bit to go out of state, I have to say, a lot of people don't like staying too close to home. They want to get out, and that's what happened in his instance. But you got to catch them in the high school, in the middle school level, to let them know what's available around here. And maybe they don't go get a 4-year degree. Maybe they get a 2-year degree or a 3-year degree. And then you have a better chance of retaining them here. It's when they go to school and they have their roommates, and then they want to go someplace like Charlotte where it's a big city atmosphere. And they go there because that's what they want. That's the lifestyle they want. The key is will they come back? And I can't predict that. And I don't know how many do, but to Paul's point, I've got 2 sons. One's here and one's in Illinois. He was in North Carolina, and no telling where he's going to end up in the next couple of years because that's just the lifestyle and the degree he has. But he's using his degree, but there's nothing around here that involves, collegiate or pro sports. There's some close to it, but not at that level.
Our return on our investment, our ROI, if you multiply $13,000 a year times 13 years, K through 12.
That's a lot of money.
It's a lot of dollars, and when those dollars leave, because it's nicer in Charlotte or Richmond or Washington, D.C., our ROI does not look good. But kudos to you on your investment in the career and technical education facility, because to your point, a lot of those the career and technical education programs do tie directly into employment opportunities here in the region. I think ultimately we have to acknowledge it's a little difficult to fight sort of the traditional culture in every community that we want to, youth wants to go explore, okay, and they want to experience things out of market, and they'll come across opportunities outside. But we're firm believers in the boomerang opportunity, and we do see that happening, and perhaps your 13,000 per student ROI is paying off, but it just, the return, it takes some time to accrue, okay? So, but kudos to you for your leadership.
If I could just add one more thing, I'd like to brag on Megan Baker and her team. Some of what they do with our Manufacturing Day tours is they invite all of these high school students to see what opportunities are available locally, and I think that that's just been a fabulous educational process for our students, and it's been very successful. So thank you, Megan, for that work.
Yeah, and just to conclude here, manufacturing was one of my first jobs out of college, so it definitely pays well and it sustains a good lifestyle. So, John, you were talking about your collaboration with Visit Blue Ridge is becoming more a collaborative, so through your social media and other stuff. Have y'all been able to join forces a little bit on the airport expansion? Because I know in economic development, that's going to become, we need to get in and out of here. And so how do you tackle that?
Sure. Great question, Chairman Radford. So really, I think our role ends up being thought leadership, maybe economic research, and you've seen us do some of that over time because we're really careful not to duplicate, ultimately in terms of what, roles. We want to invest the dollars wisely of our public and private partners. And so We will support those in the regional chamber. We support the airport as well in those advocacy efforts, and of course the regional commission. So there's plenty of folks working in that advocacy realm, but we're available to help support with research and thought leadership, and proud to do that.
Okay. And then just to pick on Pete a little bit about GoFest. Glad that you came along to Explore Park, finally. We're glad to see that. And I went downtown, but I never went up to Explore Park to see everything. I'm going to do that this year. It just didn't happen. But thank you for working with Alan Hayes. One thing I didn't see downtown, maybe it's at Explore Park, but all those vendors, bicycle vendors came in and you could test ride. Are they doing that up at Explore Park? Okay.
Yes, sir.
Okay,
Yeah,
great.
Explore Park's more of the actual experience, trail experience, river
Yeah.
experience, getting equipment out there, because it lends itself so well to that.
Correct.
Kind of the concept.
Yeah, I wanted to try out some of those $15,000 e-bikes, and so I'll do that in October.
Get him to sign a release before he gets on one.
Yeah, no sign of release, no. Yeah, go right. It's been on. He's not tapping to me. Yeah, it's on. I'm on. John, thank you a lot. I think that'll wrap us up.
Okay.
Appreciate it.
Thank you so much. I really enjoy working with your team, the Economic Development, Parks and Recreation, and of course County Administration. It's a great group to work with, and thank you for your leadership.
Thank you very much for your work, too.
Okay, we move to item D, public hearing. Item 1, public hearing for citizen comments on the real estate effective tax rate for calendar year 2026. Steve Elliott, Budget Administrator.
Good afternoon, Mr. Chairman and members of the board. Per the Code of Virginia, Section 58.1-3321, when any annual reassessment in the county of Roanoke of real property would result in an increase of 1% or more in the total real property tax levies, excluding new construction, a calculation known as the effective tax rate increase is required to be completed. The County of Roanoke's real property assessments, excluding new construction, increased by 6.08% over the previous year. Therefore, per state code, the county must calculate the effective tax rate increase, advertise the effective tax rate increase, and conduct a public hearing pertaining to the effective tax rate increase. The effective tax rate would be 97.1 cents per $100 of assessed value. Adjusted for inflation at a rate of 2.68%, the tax rate would be 99.6 cents per $100 of assessed value. The Code of Virginia requires specific language to be included in the advertisement of the effective tax rate. The advertisement was published in the Cardinal News on February 7th, 2026, the Roanoke Rambler on February 8th, and the Roanoke Times on February 10th, thereby satisfying state code requirements for public notice. This item is to conduct the public hearing, to receive citizen comment on the real estate effective tax rate for calendar year 2026. Staff recommends conducting the public hearing to satisfy the state code requirements and receive citizen comment on the real estate effective tax rate.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Elliott. Are there any questions for Mr. Elliott?
I'd like to just a point to point out. Thank goodness the law department and you both work together to expand the advertisement to include the inflation indexed effective tax rate. We appreciate that. That tells the real story in terms of the numbers. And while we can do this, we'd like to get it put into code for the rest of the Commonwealth with FACO sponsoring it next year. So thanks for putting that in here this year. Good job. Thanks.
Thank you.
Yeah. Any other questions? Okay. So at this time, I'm going to open the public hearing. This is specifically about this effective tax rate. We appreciate all who have come to address the board today. When your name's called, please come forward and state your name and address prior to sharing your comments. Do we have anybody here that wants to? Nobody signed up. Okay. So at this point, I will close the public hearing. Thank you, Mr. Elliott.
Thanks, sir.
We move to item E, consent agenda. All matters listed under the consent agenda are considered by the board to be routine and will be enacted by one resolution in the form or forms listed below. If discussion is desired, that item will be removed from the consent agenda and will be considered separately. Does any board member wish to remove any item from the consent agenda for discussion? Okay, not seeing none. Do I have a motion to adopt all matters on the consent agenda?
Mr. Chairman, I would move we approve the 5 items that are listed under our consent agenda.
Okay, do I have a second?
Second.
Thank you. Any discussion on the motion? Hearing none, will the clerk please call the roll?
Mrs. Hooker?
Yes.
Mr. North?
Yes.
Mr. Mahoney?
Yes.
Mr. Radford?
Yes. We move to item F, citizens' comments and communications. This time has been set aside for Roanoke County citizens to address the board on matters of interest or concern. Are there any citizens wanting to address the board that have not submitted a form? Okay. We move to item G, reports. Is there a motion to receive and file the reports that have been included with the agenda under item G?
Move the motion for item G.
Thank you. Do I have a
Second.
second? Thank you. Second. Any discussion? Clerk, please call the roll.
Mrs. Hooker?
Yes.
Mr. North?
Yes.
Mr. Mahoney?
Yes.
Mr. Radford?
Yes. We move to item H, reports and inquiries of board members. Mr. North, you are first.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. The CTB, which is the Commonwealth Transportation Board, in February 17th at their monthly meeting under the new Secretary of Transportation, Nick Donahue, provided a preview of funding for the upcoming 6-year funding program. At this time, the CTB expects $59.6 billion in preliminary allocation. Of that $59.6 billion, $607 million is dedicated to I-81. $18.6 billion is budgeted for maintenance and operations. This budget is showing an initial shortfall of $633.7 million, of which $287.2 million is being made up from federal sources. $346.5 million is being transferred from construction. In other General Assembly actions, neither Roanoke-Blacksburg Airport funding request made it out of the House and Senate money committees this past weekend. The Air Service Task Force, which resides at the Roanoke Regional Commission, is actively working for a meeting in April with the airport on potential strategies to direct additional investments in ROA. Now, what's interesting about this, that was a $47 million request for terminal improvements, but it was also a request for an additional $7 million and a separate ask for a study to determine the economic impact of extending the runway. Now, Roanoke County, Salem, and Roanoke City are members of the Airport Commission. And, you know, we're competing for funds that I bet you, and I don't know this, Mr. K. Wood, but over in Richmond, your old stomping grounds there for a while, they were asking for $253 million, but I don't know if they got any, I don't think they were asking for that through the General Assembly. So I couldn't determine whether they were bonding that themselves or whether they were going through the federal sources to get some of that, but that's a big ask for Richmond. And so airport expansions are important to the area, even though they're not in Roanoke County in this case. It's just like John Hull will tell you, it impacts the whole region. And so remember to fly ROA, even though their pricing is pretty expensive, I just noticed, because of the oil crisis. A ticket was $1,200 last year. It's going to cost me $1,600 this year. So it is what it is. But let's hope we come back and get some solutions to get some money for that airport. Thank you. That's all I got.
Thank you, Mr. North. Martha?
I just got one item, Mr.
Okay.
Chairman, and last Friday, several of us attended the McAfee Awards, and it was the initial programming, premier event for all of our social media and sending out awards to certain departments for their creativity, their information, their ability to grab people's attention and to inform them at the same time. It was great fun, great information, and I would just like to encourage citizens that are on social media to go ahead and give a like and follow and see some of the fun and information that is shared that way. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Hooker. Mr. Mahoney.
Two items. Back on February 25th, the chief of the Cave Spring Volunteer Fire Department invited me to attend the Volunteer Academy 24 graduation ceremony. And it was at South County Library. It was a wonderful event. There were about 13 young people who graduated and are ready to serve in Roanoke County volunteer squads and companies. Now, 9 of those folks are for Cave Spring, so I'm very happy that Cave Spring is well covered. But we also had young people for Mount Pleasant, for Fort Lewis, and Back Creek. And it was a really wonderful event. And I think it's important because if you look back historically, the volunteer squads and companies were the backbone of the fire and rescue service in the county. And over the decades, I think unfortunately the volunteer system has weakened. I don't think employers are that interested in providing an opportunity for their employees to leave work and go volunteer if there's an emergency. I think there's a different culture, and unfortunately we're losing a lot of the volunteer service in our community. And it's hard because to meet the qualifications, you have to spend a lot of hours away from your family or away from your friends to go through the qualification steps to meet the criteria that are necessary to be a volunteer for fire and rescue. But it was, I want to mention that back on February 25th, it was just a wonderful event, and we had a lot of young people who committed themselves to be volunteers and to help our community, and I think that was great. And then today, I had the opportunity to participate in a ribbon cutting for Seeking Wellness. Seeking Wellness is a mental health counseling program, and it's right next door to us, the big office building at Starkey and 419. I got a Seeking Wellness cupcake, but it was a very nice event. I think all of us have been to different ribbon cutting programs that the regional chamber has sponsored, and I got to give a lot of credit to Eric and his folks. But we had a great turnout. Lots of folks were there, in addition to County Economic Development, Megan Baker and her staff. So it's wonderful to welcome a new small business to our community. Mm-hmm. And as I said today, you know, we tend to focus on what I call the big fish, the $200 million of entity that's coming here and going to build a big new factory and hire hundreds of people. But I think we sometimes forget, or we don't pay enough attention to the small business. I think we as politicians, we always say small business is the backbone of our community. Well, they really are. And the small business person, that is the entity that adds a lot of the, I think, background and flavor to our community that makes it a great place to live and to work and raise a family. Mr. Radford is a small business owner. But I think it's easy to lose sight of the small business community in our region. And it was a lot of fun this morning to do the ribbon cutting and just right next door. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Okay. Got a couple of items to pass along to Roanoke County residents. You know, for the past 8 years, I've pretty much stayed on topic with local news or either some trickles over from Virginia on the legislative side. But, you know, right now, Roanoke County, along with the entire state of Virginia, we're going through a voting now through redistricting. And our state of Virginia has been pulled into this national conundrum with one party, partisan party. And they're having a fight with the executive branch up at the White House, and so we're being drug into it. So the point I'm making, I've had several people come to me and say, hey, well, what's this redistricting about? And I have to go through a long explanation. But 5 years ago, we voted on, in 2020, that we were going to agree to our congressional districting maps through the state of Virginia. That all has been thrown like a wrench into gears now, and it's messed that up. So now we're having to vote on this April 21st. Of course, early voting has already started. I'm of the opinion that we need fair representation, and it's not going to happen with this vote. So Roanoke County residents, if you need to know more information, I don't mind if you call me or talk to other board members, but we're all going to vote no for that amendment. And with that, I'll move to...
Mr. Chairman?
Yes.
Let me interrupt you. Thank you for bringing that forward. I had the opportunity this morning at about 10:30 to vote over here at our satellite voting place, speaking to some of the poll workers there. I think I was number 541.
Pretty good.
So
at Brambleton.
At Brambleton.
Yeah, okay.
So talking to the poll workers, they've indicated that it has been sort of a steady flow of people coming in to vote.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know how 541 compares to past elections, but
Pretty strong.
It sounds pretty strong.
In Vinton, I was number 111, and that was Friday, somewhere just after noon, I believe it was, or 12:30, I believe. So people are coming out, but if you don't understand the yeses and no, because there's only one question, you need to reach out to some of us.
Yeah.
Or do some research on it, because
It'll impact us until 2030.
Yeah.
And that's not good to have a 10-to-1 representation. So, okay, we move to item I, closed meeting. I move to go into a closed session pursuant to section 2.2-3711A5 of the Code of Virginia for discussion concerning a prospective business or industry or the expansion of an existing business or industry where no previous announcement has been made of the business or the industry's interest in locating or expanding its facilities in the community. The board will discuss potential business location or expansion in all 5 magisterial districts. And section 2.2-3711A3 of the Code of Virginia for discussion or consideration of the disposition of publicly held real property where discussion in an open meeting would adversely affect the bargaining position or negotiating strategy of the Board of Supervisors. Do I have a second on this motion? Thank you. Clerk, please call the roll.
Mrs. Hooker?
Yes.
Mr. North?
Yes.
Mr. Mahoney?
Yes.
Mr. Radford?
Yes. The board will now recess to the 4th floor for the closed session.